So Fallout 76 has been out for just over 2 months at this point. With this latest update to the game, I feel like it was a very fitting time to make this video because it feels like things have reached a point where it's almost release ready. Like if Bethesda released the product they have right now way back on November 14th, it would have been a lot better. The review scores would have been a bit higher. In this video, I want to do a couple of things. Give my own opinions on the game and reflect on some of the things that happened along the way. Where does the game stand now? Is it better? Is it worse? Even though a lot of the bugs have gotten removed, it's certainly not a problem-free game, and other issues have only gotten worse. You're not going to agree with everything I say in this video. I just ask that you hear me out, you listen to both sides of what I'm saying. There's certain things that are going to be positive, other things that are going to be negative, and I'm sure some of you will just angrily comment down below or dislike, and that's okay. But hopefully for the vast majority of you, you'll understand at least where I'm coming from with some of the points I do make. So one of the first things that definitely deserves recognition is the controversy, or really just mishandling of this game. I know there's a good chunk of people that will protest it or just think it's horrible always because of how it was released. They have a first impressions bias. It's pretty insane how bad of a release this game had, how many bugs you encountered both in the beta and in actually just the first day it came out. Because technically there was no patch between the last day of the beta and the first day after release, which that in and of itself, no day one patch really. But either way, I feel like over these 2 months, Bethesda has definitely gotten better. I mean, it would be pretty bad if they got worse. They definitely started at quite a low point, even though immediately after the game came out, there was, of course, the bugginess, the bad review scores, the bad user review scores, and then controversy after controversy, whether it be the Baggate, the leaking of users' information following Baggate. There's next to no doubt in my mind when people look at mishandling or poor management in video games, they will cite the release of Fallout 76. Because it's not like it just ended with the release, it was that whole month of just controversy and mishap. But I think after the first month, in month 2, they at least somewhat started to turn things around. Or even, I feel like one of the things that has really changed was how Bethesda handles community interaction and the responses to certain members of the community. If you guys think back, originally, following Fallout 76's release on PC, which in and of itself was controversy filled, to say the least, there were a ton of people saying, how are some of these basic features not here, like push-to-talk and FOV slider, 21.9 support? These are things every other AAA game has, and Fallout 76 doesn't. In Bethesda's initial response to that, they actually responded by saying, well, we don't want push-to-talk because open mic is how you experience the game socially, or even beyond that, how the FOV slider would cause bugs and glitches, clipping into other things, so they couldn't add it in. Now, shortly following that, they actually updated that post, and eventually all of those things and more got added into the game, and they were good improvements. But I think if you take that original post and compare it to their latest Inside the Vault article, only posted yesterday, there's quite a big contrast in how they're dealing with community and community feedback. In this article, they recognize how the events component of Fallout 76 isn't the best, and they call out for people to say, what do you like about this? What should they double down and what should they improve on? And I think just in general, some of the latest patches have been really reflective of that, actually listening to what people are complaining about, what they want from the game, and implementing it, or saying they're going to implement it. I think in the first month of the game's release, it was way more of Bethesda was almost taking like an Apple approach, where it's their product, they know best, and they're going to do what they want. Where now, it's definitely not. They're listening way more, and I think it really shows. But at the same time, even with good listening, they did have somewhat of a problem with patching and updating this game. It felt like every time a new patch came out, even the latest one, a couple of new bugs were added in with that, some of them being massive and pretty big deals, other ones being fairly minor. Although I do think this is an area they've somewhat improved on. They're way more ready to hotfix things now, and even beyond that, their release schedule is a bit different. Now they'll actually release patches on PC first because they could hotfix things easier, and then a couple days later on consoles. The idea being they'll post it on PC, be able to hotfix it quickly, but then have a release-ready version for consoles that already has that hotfix implemented so it doesn't last as long. It's little things like this and some of the other things Bethesda are doing that makes me feel like they actually are learning somewhat from their mistakes, trying to improve. In a way, I feel like in 2019 especially, they're almost finding their groove with this game, what to do right and what wasn't right. But that definitely came from experience. For a while, they were just doing mess up after mess up, and some of those aren't like short last, they're actually pretty long living. In December, they patched a duplication glitch. That was a pretty big issue, but fortunately it was resolved, except almost immediately following that duplication glitch, a new one popped up. So then you had a 3-week period where Bethesda went on winter break where people could just dupe freely. There was really no repercussion. this leading to thousands of duped items on consoles and PC. And it wasn't in a bubble. People having over 10 million carry weight made the entire server lag or even crash. And beyond that, people went on to sell those duped items for in-game caps, pretty much breaking the economy, or even for real-world money on eBay, making thousands in the process. Now, in fairness, Bethesda, again, was on vacation, but it's an online game. I feel like, to an extent, you have to kind of address major issues like this one that were affecting so many players. This was fortunately patched in the past update, and beyond that, in the latest Inside the Vault article, Bethesda talks about exploiters and actually clamping down on them, how they will need community help with finding the exploits, and it's going to be an issue that persists, but they're committed to fixing it. And they are kind of backing that up with their words. A little over a week ago now, I talked about how exploiters were finally getting banned, and that hasn't stopped. Behind the scenes, I am continually getting reports of people being banned again and again for exploits, specifically for the duping exploit. The bans haven't stopped, and they're continuing even now behind the scenes. Even beyond that, Bethesda has also discussed how the most duped weapon, two-shot explosive weapons, are getting nerfs in the future to hopefully balance it even further. So over these past few months, I feel like Fallout 76 has definitely improved, both the game and Bethesda's handling of the game and updates and just interactions with the community. They're way more active on some of their social channels, such as their Reddit account or even their official forums. And on a lot of bug reports or widely upvoted issues, even though it's fairly small and simple, they will give the, hey, I passed this along to the developers, or hey, we're aware of this glitch, we're hopefully trying to find a fix to it. And I think that really brings us to the game itself. Now that Fallout 76 is mostly bug-free, there's certainly still some lingering bugs all the way back from beta. And this is something I said way back then, and I'll repeat now, it's still not a good game, at least in my eyes. The removal of the bugs is definitely a good thing. Go bump up the review score by 1 for all the major outlets, but at the same time, it's still a problem-ridden game. There still exists really no endgame. Like if you're somebody that played for 40 hours while all these bugs were going on and kind of toughed it out and you're trying to decide whether or not to come back, I would say no, not really, at least not yet. I still consistently have the issue of, alright, I put 70 hours into Fallout 76 and I don't really have much else I want to do. There are still quests that I could do, but I'm just not super interested. I don't love the new quest structure. But at the same time, on the flip side, I think if you're somebody that hasn't played the game yet, it could be a pretty good time to pick it up on sale. I see a lot of people who are just saying Fallout 76 isn't worth it, it's a waste of time, and nobody should bother playing it, and I just don't agree. I think many of those people are suffering from a first impressions bias, where they saw the controversy, they played its immensely buggy release, and they think it is a permanently bad game, but I simply don't agree with that. The game has no doubt improved. It's not a good game now, but it certainly is a better game than it was 2 months ago. I think even Bethesda, outwardly facing, is better. It could be all a farce, just trying to appease the community, but hey, it's working. And I would definitely recommend this game for $30 to $40, especially if one of your friends are getting it. The exploration is still good. You'll probably get disappointed or bored with it after 10 to 20 hours, but that's still 10 to 20 hours. Some of the quest lines are really interesting, even though I don't love the lack of dialogue options, and the game certainly doesn't have as much replayability. A lot of times you really don't have much choice at all. But I think most games are worth it at the right price, and Fallout 76 definitely has that price. For me, I would say it's $30 to $40. For you, maybe it's only $10, $20. But either way, depending on where you go and how official of a website you want to buy it off of, you could probably find it for $10 to $20 right now. But even beyond that, that brings me to DLC. And I think the next time I make one of these videos, whether it be a 3, a 4, or even a 5-month update, it's only going to get better. Fallout 76 is set to get several DLCs over the next couple of months, and even just some cool new modes. Like seemingly PvP servers are coming, new events are coming that will last weeks like many other MMOs do, or even just the Vault DLC or the Enclave DLC that are rumored. I think that's going to breathe a lot of new life into the game. It's mostly bug-free at this point, and it's a great time to drop some of the DLCs, but I would say it's probably a good time to start playing the base game if you want to play some of those DLCs down the line, if you haven't played it before. Again, not everyone's going to agree with me on this one, but these are my true opinions on it right now. It had a horrible release, some people will protest the game for it, and I don't really blame them. I think that's pretty justified. The state at which this game was released and the fact that Bethesda put their name on it is kind of embarrassing. But at least right now, as a bug-free game, there's certainly fun to be had, and I wouldn't ignore it outright. I would at least look into whether or not you think you would like it. So hopefully you guys found this video informative. There's no doubt in my mind that some of you will strongly disagree with me, and yeah, that's fine. It's kind of honestly natural. How could you not disagree with me, at least on some of my points? Another reason I really wanted to make this video that I didn't mention in the start is I see a lot of people just outright not recommending the game, which I feel like isn't fair. I don't think that's giving Fallout 76 a fair shake, and I think that's being overly biased based on what happened to the game in the past. It might be your personal choice that you don't want to support Bethesda, and in a way, I totally understand that, but at the same time, some people don't care about that stuff, and I feel like for them, this game could be playable. I don't really like this whole narrative that has been arising that Fallout 76 will never be playable and shouldn't be playable. Shouldn't we as consumers want to see the game succeed, want to see Bethesda improve on this? Especially those of us who actually paid $60 for this game on release, we're never getting our money back, and it certainly was not worth $60 on release, but I at least hope in 2019 the game only continues to improve and I continue to get my money's worth, or at least recoup some of those losses. Obviously that's all hypothetical, I didn't actually lose any money, but in my hypothetical, make me more fair, or make me more complete based on the value that is provided. Either way, it's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this one. As always, again, I thank you all for watching. Today is my last day of being 21. I don't know why I mentioned that, I just felt like why not, and yeah, tomorrow I will bring you a video as a 22-year-old. So yeah, see you guys next time. Later.